What's up, football people? My name is Selwyn Saki, and we are out and about. Live from Accra, Ghana. We are at the business end of the African Cup of Nations, and there's no other person to bring you up to speed. I'm here with my brother.
Feels good to be back home.
Yeah. Feels good to be back home. The last time we were talking about this was in Casablanca.
After the game against, I think, Morocco and Mali.
Yes,
in
Morocco and
Rabat
Mali.
when we watched the game together.
Yep.
Very interesting game.
We are back in Accra here to bring you all the updates. And also we have more on the Ghana Premier League, the English FA Cup, and the Spanish Super Cup final that went on this weekend. But don't forget, new players on the 1xBet platform will get 300% bonus when you use our promo code ABOUTGH. And I'll say it again, 300% bonus for all our new players who use our promo code ABOUTGH. So we're here. Let's get the ball rolling. And we start with the Ghana Premier League and Accra Hearts of Oak. They won a game against...
Morocco and Ayew struck deep into stoppage time to seal a priceless 1-0 victory for them at the Hohoe Sports Stadium, I should say. So Hearts of Oak back to winning ways. But the talking point from the game was a return of Hearts of Oak goalkeeper Benjamin Asare.
Yes.
Remember, he had been out of the starting 11 for the last 5 or 6 games. And Morocco and Ayew, who scored the goal actually, but Solomon Agbasi had seemed to have taken over the first choice position, and he was really high flying there. But Asare came back with a clean sheet for the Phobians.
And his coach is saying that he's his number one. No matter what, who's on form, if Agbasi is on form, whether Benjamin comes back, he is the number one.
I just feel it's political. If you look at Asare's celebration after the game, you could tell you that he was maybe a bit frightened by the form that Agbasi was carrying, because conversations started emerging that if possible, we could take 2 Hearts of Oak goalkeepers to the World Cup. Remember, Benjamin Asare is the number 1 goalkeeper for the Black Stars, but Agbasi, who many feel is ahead of Benjamin Asare in terms of form, in terms of performance, and in terms of how they both came into the club. Because remember, Agbasi was at Dreams FC and he was excellent. He was named the best goalkeeper in the CAF Confederation Cup in 2024. So he has high profile and a high ceiling compared to Benjamin Asare, who just emerged in 2025 and become the number 1 first choice goalkeeper for the Black Stars. But it's just power play and political, because we had a lot of talk and a lot of people saying Benjamin Asare needs to get back in goal and he needs to establish himself as a first choice goalkeeper, and he needs to be consistent leading up to the World Cup, else he's going to lose his spot. And I think it's just fair that he came back, and he came back with a bang, with a clean sheet for Hearts of Oak. They're winning by a good 2-0 at Hohoe United.
Hearts of Oak won their game 1-0 at Hohoe United, but their brothers, Kotoko, was a goalless draw against Brekum Chelsea. What do you have to say about that?
A very intense game at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Former Hearts of Oak coach got sent off, Samuel Boydu. So it was a game that had everything except goals, and I think both teams just mirrored what has happened in the first round of the league season. A lot of wasted opportunities, because the Ghana Premier League has lacked goals in the first round, and it happens. We are going to see more goals in the second round, but this is the first game in the second round. But this time around, both teams were very wasteful. If you watch the game, Kotoko had a glaring 1v1 opportunities and all that, but they couldn't just bury the chance. But for Brekum Chelsea, it's a morale boosting one for them, because they are still in the relegation battle, but they will take a lot of positives from the performance, especially with their coach being sent off and still holding their own for the last 20 minutes to secure the 3 points. So I think it's positive between the two sides. It's positive for Brekum Chelsea. But Karim Zito granted an interview after the game saying that if they want to fire him, they should, because I think he's had enough of
Amorim stuff there.
he's had enough of the conversation about his future every day, because I think 3 weeks ago he scored 6 against Betim United and then lost to Senegal All Blacks, and then he's drawn this game. So always the conversation about his future comes up, and I think he's getting frustrated by the countless times that journalists or the media asked him about his future at Asante Kotoko. So that was the talking point from that particular game.
That's true. And talking about goals coming up in this Ghana Premier League, the leaders showed why they are leaders. Mediama, 3-0 against Young Apostles.
They seems to be running away with the title. Mediama, they've won 3 in their last 5 games, and they seems to do no wrong at the moment. Ibrahim Tanko with his experience from national team level, being assistant coach of the Black Stars, has come in and I think he's molded the team really well. And he came in, I think, last season, but maybe at the time the season had already started. They started with Augustin Adute before they had some major changes. But Ibrahim Tanko has come in, and I think Mediama are playing some good football. The thing with Mediama is they just have to stay consistent because for motivation-wise, everything looks very, very fine. Before their game against Hasselhoff, they had a $200,000 injection into their coffers for a sponsorship deal with some mining company. So it's all good for them off the field, but on the field they just have to stay consistent, and they can emerge as champions. Already 5 points clear at the top of the table. Bebienigo Stars, defending champions, they are now closing in. Aduana Stars have not been consistent, so you can mention that. Then Asante Kotoko also have just lacked the firepower when it matters the most.
Yep. As you said, Indiana Stars still in pole contention, chasing them. They won a game against Karela, 2-1. In there was also other games around. Dreams FC beaten Hearts of Lions 3-0.
The good old John Entry coming back.
Yes.
And I was asking myself, how many times is John Entry coming back to the Ghana Premier League? I know. But he's a legend. He's a legend, especially in Egypt. I know when you mentioned John Entry in Egypt, he's the top scorer for a foreign player in the Egyptian league. Yeah, that's a huge record for him there. So John Entry coming back, scoring 2 goals. That game was interrupted by a heavy downpour in Tuba. Those of you who don't know Tuba, is at the Kaswa Strait. So it got interrupted. He came back and Dreams FC got the 3rd goal. So a good result for Womford Dortmund, who had come under pressure before midway through the first round when they were in the relegation battle, but they are now 9th on the table. They seems to be climbing up, and I think it's good news for Womford Dortmund, especially for a manager of his caliber. His first major test at the Ghana Premier League, and he seems to be doing well.
Other games around the Premier League and Pseudo All Blacks and Nations was 1-1.
Before the game, the Egyptian coach announced his resignation, even from before the club.
All Blacks. The coach announced his own.
Ghana Premier League has everything. It has everything you can think of.
Yeah, the best league in the world. Now, 11 Wonders and Basaka All Stars 2-0 in favor of 11 Wonders. They seem to be coming back on form. We also saw Samatex and Vision was a goalless draw. Became United, Bebienigo Stars. Became beats Bebienigo Stars 1-0. And that's how we wrap up the Ghana Premier League. And now, some Black Star stories. As we said, from now on until the World Cup, we'll always see some players coming in. Ghana's most capped player, Andre Ayew, marked his long-awaited return to competitive football after making his debut for NAC Breda in the Dutch Eredivisie. Andre Ayew is back on the pitch. Efson, is he going to the World Cup?
It depends. I'm not the coach. I'll put him in a tight spot because Andre is one player I really admire, and he's done a lot for the Black Stars. Over 120 caps for the Black Stars, the most capped player, and he has 24 goals to back it. I think prior to this AFCON, every record in terms of appearances at this tournament, he was in the conversation with the likes of Rigobert Song and the Egyptian stars there. But at the moment, he wasn't playing for the last 6 months since he left Le Havre. So this is a major boost. You could see the excitement when he signed the contract. But the point is he going to stay fit? Is he going to stay consistent? Because the fact is that Otuado is still scouting players. And he's even scouting players who are injured. He's looking at players who are injured. We've seen pictures of him with Ernest Nyama, with Mohamed Salisu. So you can see that he still wants to back the youngsters, and he still wants to entrust them with a lot of responsibility going into the World Cup. But although the youngsters are good and they can step up when it matters the most, we still need some experience. But it all depends on the coach. If Andre stays consistent, scores a couple of goals, and he's still at the highest level, plays at the highest level, who knows? He could be in contention, he could be in a conversation because he's just 35. And we've seen players, Ronaldo is 40 and he's still a key player for Portugal.
He's definitely going to the World Cup.
Lewandowski is 37, he's still a key player for
Poland.
So, Hussam Hassan, he was 40 when he won what's the name, AFCON in 2006. So it has to do with how he keeps himself in shape, if he's still available, if he still plays really well and can still contribute effectively.
Before he got a club, we saw him train at Ajax Cup.
I don't count that. You can't be training at Ajax Park with with division, let's say second
Wakasu
tier
also
players.
who's there with him.
I don't know, but I don't know why they chose to do that, because I feel if he wanted to stay at a competitive level, he could have even been training with Hearts of Folk, maybe, yeah, because if he was just training, he could have trained with a Premier League side, yeah. So let's see how it goes. It all depends on the coach. If Oli has the power.
All the training, I expect give him 33 minutes for his debut. We hope that he's going to get more minutes as things go on in the Dutch Eredivisie in Position 4. Now, from one Black Stars player, we move to another one. And Ghana's star Antoine Semenyo made his debut after securing his £65 million move to Manchester City from Bournemouth. On his debut, assist and a goal, as Semenyo arrived at Etihad comfortably.
10-1 against
Exeter.
Exeter come before. Yeah,
that was. Trying to say it's not a big match for him to show.
Oh yeah, we saw another teenage who has Ghanaian roots, Makedu. Yeah, also scoring there. So I think it's positive for Semenyo. It depends on how Pep Guardiola is going to use him, because Manchester City has a lot of forwards and a lot of them are playing so well at the moment. It just comes at a good time for him because Savinho is injured, so he can slot in maybe on the right or on the left. But if he has to slot in on the left, meaning he has to share the position with Jeremy Doku, and it's going to be very difficult. I can't tell if it's a good move at the moment, because just 6 months to the World Cup, leaving your comfort zone to challenge yourself, it could backfire. It could turn out spectacularly well for him as well. So let's see how it goes. I wish him the best of luck, and also being named man. Don't forget he was named man of the match in the game. We wish him the best of luck. Just hope it doesn't turn out to be a wrong decision, but could see the excitement on his face when he signed the contract. So let's hope. For me here too, same concerns when Semenyo was joining City. I'm like, where is he going to play? Because both wings are full of players. Left back. Pep can always experiment those things. He can put anybody at the left back position. And for Semenyo, I don't know. I think for me, it's the same thing. I was thinking that there's so many players around the position he plays. And if you're Bournemouth, you had a great start of the season, leaving that in January to join City, I think maybe he's also thinking that, bro, what if I don't get a chance in the summer? So let me just grasp it right now. But yeah, for Semenyo, we wish him all the best. We hope that he could get a position in that team. And yes. But it's interesting that he becomes the most expensive Ghanaian player. Of all the players who you would think will have this record, Semenyo was never in a conversation. Someone who his stats of his career was a bit that way, It shows that he never give up. It could come. There are some who are the Lamine Yamals that we discovered now at the age of 15. Some too we can discover now at the age of 25. So don't give up. But so when is it worth the transfer fee? £65 million. Crazy. That's the football we are in right now. Because I'm looking at the top 10 list, and one thing that struck me was Michael Essien's fee. Bro. That was 38 million euros or so. If Essien was moving at this time. 2005. So let's say per inflation and everything, I think if you're looking at the list proper, then Essien is the rightful number one. Yeah, he's the number one. Right now, Essien should be like 100 million or something if he was being so. But Kudus is on the list twice. Yes. His West Ham's move and then the West Ham to Tottenham. Yeah, so we're leaving England. We are flying to Spain, and Barcelona claimed a record extending 16 Spanish Super Cup title, defeating Real Madrid 3-2. It was played in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Rafinha fired his team to glory. Efsen, take it away. Rafinha, 11 goals and assists in his last 6 games against Real Madrid. He's turning out to be Mr. El Clasico. Yep. Yesterday, he settled the contest. It was a very brilliant one. I think Vinicius Junior scoring the best goal of the game. Coming into this game, he hadn't scored in 19 games for Real Madrid. So he had a lot to prove, and yesterday he scored. But Real Madrid, I think the approach from the onset was wrong. They showed a lot of respect to Barcelona, and Barcelona. I was wondering why they sat back so much. Yeah, because even you see in the second half when they opened up, they had a lot of. They could go toe-to-toe with Barcelona, but I don't know if maybe he thought the injury situation at the club was too much for him to handle. I'm talking about Xabi Alonso because they had Oli, Dinhausen, and Asensio available for this game. Rudiger couldn't be available for this game. So I think they showed a lot of respect, and Hansi Flick extending his perfect record in finals, 8/8. He hasn't lost a cup competition final. So that's some huge win for Barcelona. And I think Barcelona players or the fans, they were saying after the first Clasico that they are going to get their revenge, and they've gotten it at the perfect time, getting it in a thrilling Clasico in Saudi Arabia. But I think the conversation outside of football about why the Spanish Cup is being held in Saudi Arabia, I think it's one thing that people have criticized it for. And Inaki Williams is one player who has voiced his frustration over it, because you don't see Real Madrid and Barcelona have the luxury, they have the fans in all outside Spain, so they can fill the stadiums. But if Athletic Bilbao can't have their fans in Saudi Arabia, then I don't think it's a good thing. Then it should just go straight forward, a final between Real Madrid and Barcelona. But Inaki Williams was booed in the semi-finals because of what he said last season. So that's it. Maybe I don't think it's right.
But the Spanish football, they've even tried to take some La Liga games to USA and all that.
There was I don't know. They just want to overly market the product. Yeah. But the league is for the people of Spain. You have to bring it closer to them. I don't see why a Villarreal match versus Barcelona is going to be played in Miami. Jesus Christ, let's be serious. But it's all part of the marketing and
let's do some business, because I mean the Premier League is taking most of the market share, so they are trying to enter other markets where.
But you don't do it that way. Yeah. If you want to enter the market share, then allow the clubs to be able to spend, because the Premier League clubs are flexing their muscles. Yep. West Ham United can buy a player for 50 million. And Barcelona, since Hansi Flick came on board, has spent less than 50 million euros. You see the difference?
Yes.
So, the Spanish clubs are struggling. Valencia, Sevilla, they all cannot afford to buy players at the level that Aston Villa are buying players. It's a work.
Aston Villa is even buying their best players.
Can you imagine the whole Aston Villa going to Sevilla to plug their best player? So that's the situation. So they have to fix the transfer embargoes and the sanctions and all those things, trying to stifle the clubs and allow them to be flexible. I understand the financial fair play, but allow the clubs to be flexible so they can be able to compete.
I always say that the financial fair play need to find a way of working with it,
because the English clubs are finding
they are doing it.
I'm looking at Chelsea's transfer of their new coach, Liam
Rosinha.
Yeah. From Strasbourg. Strasbourg is a club owned by Chelsea. So what's the meaning of this?
Bro.
I just thought it's just maybe they're just going to pay him the salary of any as Strasbourg for him to come on board. They can do that. Yeah.
Easily. Same company, just run them through.
So the English clubs are always finding a way they're finding the loopholes to take advantage of.
So from Spain, we move down the Mediterranean to Morocco. And what am I talking about? It's the African Cup of Nations, and we are the semi-finals, guys. I think this one of the, in a long time for AFCON, the toughest semi-final, or even from the quarter-final stage, the teams are in there. Now we have Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt, Senegal.
So you agree with me that AFCON should be 16 teams?
I mean,
because the tough matches
for real. The big teams have shown that,
in the quarterfinals. Exactly. And because the 24 teams, I know a lot of people will disagree with me, and I think the expansion was just to ensure that some teams or some countries can be able to participate. But the thing is that if it's not financially viable, because most of these teams are coming in and they are spending more than they're going to even receive, so it's just they're playing for pride. So I think there should be more investment into the competition, but we'll get into that later. But the 4 teams remaining, I think, are deserving. Maybe Ivory Coast could have been a perfect replacement for Egypt, but the Egyptians showed just why they deserve to be in the semi-finals. Proper tournament team there. And I think one thing that has helped them is the vibe in camp. And Mohamed Salah has spoken highly of it. He's saying this is his best Egyptian camp ever. It tells you how things had been difficult for him in the past. And this is the time that he thinks he has a lot of the players who look up to him, a lot of the players who really want to win something, and not for themselves, but for Mohamed Salah, for what he's done for Egyptian football. And Senegal, I think the depth in their squad is just incredible. They can replace every single player in their starting 11. And they've not named the same starting 11 twice in a row. No, just a couple of players just starting consistently, like Sadio Mane, Idrissa Gana Gueye, and the likes. But they always have a replacement for anybody who comes in. I'm looking at this guy from PSG, the teenage Mbaye. he sits on the bench.
And when
you
he
think
comes,
he's going to sit on the bench for Ghana?
No way.
Yeah, so the Ghanaians who are asking why Ghana didn't qualify, this is one of the reasons, because the talent at the disposal of the likes of Morocco, Senegal, and Nigeria is just enormous. Morocco have lost Unai, or the what's the name? The Girona man.
Mm-hmm.
I
The
think,
central Unai.
and they lost their captain, Roman Sears. They lost also one of their key midfielders in their first game by his comeback. So I think, and they are still playing. They've considered the least number of goals in the tournament. They've not considered from open play.
I was surprised how they easily beat Cameroon 2 goals.
I
thought it was going to be a tougher game.
Never a KG game. I didn't see it. It was just Cameroon riding on history about them being the kings when it comes to playing host nations. And Cameroon has some impressive record. I was looking at the numbers, and Cameroon is the only team that has won multiple AFCON titles.
Right.
Like more than 2 AFCON titles without winning a single one as host nation. They've won 5.
Oh, is it? None as host nation.
None as host nation, and it's incredible. All the other teams, Nigeria have won 1 as host nation. Ivory Coast, Ghana twice. 2 of our 4 came when we hosted a tournament. You can talk about South Africa also hosted it and won it in '96. Egypt have hosted it a couple of times and won it. So I think Cameroon, a lot of people expected a tougher challenge, especially when they eliminated South Africa. But Morocco were just too strong for them. They packed the midfield. Hakimi running like a player who hadn't been out injured for a while now, and it was just incredible performance from Walid Regragui's team.
Let's move on to Algeria, Nigeria. Nigeria has been on great form in this tournament, to be honest.
Do you feel, or do you reckon this is the time for them?
It could be. It could be for me. As I'm looking at this, if they beat Morocco, then If Nigeria goes to the final, my prediction at the beginning of the tournament.
But can they beat Senegal?
That's another hurdle. But can Senegal in the final with Egypt, the semi-final Egypt?
It's
tournament Egypt, bro.
It's going to be difficult. I just feel this game might travel to extra time. To
Senegal, Egypt, extra time for me.
Yeah. Egypt might just come up with that. El Shanawi coming up with some big saves in the final, in the penalty shootout. But I think Nigeria, one thing that is helping them is their attack. Is Eric Shell has to take a lot of credit for, because compared to what they did last time in Ivory Coast, their run was mainly due to an incredible defense that they had, because they kept a lot of clean sheets in Ivory Coast. They were very difficult to beat and all that. But Giuseppe Pissarro, the coach at the time, was heavily criticized because people were saying he had a lot of talent, he had a lot of attacking power, but they were always defending, they were always sitting back. But he tried to explain that defense wins you titles. But unfortunately, the defense didn't win the title on the D-Day against Ivory Coast. But one thing that has changed in this Nigeria setup is their offense has become more prolific, and they scored the most goals in this tournament. I think 14 goals, and they are averaging over three goals per game. So it's just incredible for how Osimhen, last tournament he scored just 1 goal. This tournament he scored 4, and he's in the running for the top scorer award. So Nigeria have a lot of firepower in attack, and they showed it against Algeria. I thought it was going to be a close game, but Algeria didn't have a shot on target.
Same. I thought it was going to be a close game, man. Nigeria showed something.
Yeah, it was just incredible. The way they moved the ball around, Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, and Wilfred Ndidi in the middle for Nigeria. And the back 4 is where the problem is. People do not trust Osayi Samuel. They do not trust Bruno and Ajayi and the likes, but they still keep it tight at the back when it matters the most. I think Algeria were just stifled. They just couldn't find a way past Nigeria from start to finish, and it was just an incredible performance from the Super Eagles.
Well, Egypt and Ivory Coast, before the game started, everybody was like, Ivory Coast on form. But I was like, tournament Egypt, don't joke with them. And truly, just the game started, and Mamouche hits one in, and they got a second goal. Ivory Coast tried to come in, but no. I think that Egypt won the game at the first half.
I think I was just surprised how Ivory Coast were carved open, because maybe it was just a lack of discipline, and maybe they thought this was just the right time for them to just beat one of their nemesis in the tournament. Egypt has always been a nemesis of Ivory Coast. Any tournament that they failed to win or been eliminated in this century, Egypt appeared somewhere, somehow. In 2006, they lost in the final. In, I think, 2021 or so, Ivory Coast were eliminated by Egypt.
Yes.
So Egypt have always found a way to beat Ivory Coast, including the 4-1 drubbing in Ghana in the CAN 2008. So it was always going to be difficult for Ivory Coast, but I thought they had transitioned really well from moving from the more experienced players to infusing them with a lot of young players. But so the thing is that although they are out, I think this Ivorian team has a bright future. They have a very bright future, and I think MS Faye and is a very good coach that can take them really far in this in future. But for Egypt, just statically disciplined performance. Houssam Hassan is not a likable manager. He's not one manager that Egyptians thought could take them to this far in the competition. Maybe they just came into this competition hoping that maybe just progress from the group stage, reach the quarterfinal. He's going to step further. So Houssam deserves all the credit. His twin brother is the technical director. So they are running the show. Two troublesome twins there for Egypt. They are running the show. Houssam has all it takes to win the title. He's won it 3 times as a player, and he knows how to win it. He won it in the 90s. He won it in the 2000s. So he knows the temperament. He knows how to approach each game in every phase of the competition. So I think that's the trump card for Egypt, and also Mohamed Salah saying that he's happy and all that. So let's see how it goes. I hope Egypt wins it just for Salah. I feel the football gods owe him a trophy. Yeah.
So if you are looking at the AFCON semi-final, Senegal versus Egypt, Nigeria versus Morocco, your prediction is that Egypt is going to beat Senegal?
Maybe, just maybe. I don't know. I don't want to stick my neck out and say Egypt, because Senegal can be a different team altogether. They could just go and smash it just 5-0, and it could happen because they have a lot of goals in them. The positive thing for Senegal is that they don't have one man scoring all the goals. Their top scorer is Nicolas Jackson. He's just scored 2 goals, and the 2 goals, what's the name? Pape Gueye from Villarreal has also scored 2 goals. So they have a lot of players scoring for them. Iliam Ndiaye came in and scored in the quarterfinals. They fell on Sadio Mane in the crunch game against DR Congo to also score. So they have a lot of goals in them, a lot of players, and one player that has impressed me the most is Crépin Diatta. The right back is just so good. A lot of talk about Brahim Diaz, Osimhen, and others being player of the tournament. I think Crépin Diatta also stands a chance. He's been absolutely brilliant at right back for Senegal.
Tough semi-final there. Egypt-Senegal, for me, I think it will go extra time. But who's going to go through? I still cannot see anything yet. But I
think it's going to be 50 or 55-45 in favor of Senegal. Just because they won the previous meeting in the final. I think maybe they'll have the slight edge. And after the final, they played 2 crucial playoffs in the World Cup qualifiers. Right. Senegal won that game. They won that game on penalties.
The other one is Nigeria versus the host nation, Morocco. Morocco hasn't really been, their group stage wasn't that smooth, but the knockout stages, they look like they're doing very well. But Nigeria has been emphatic in this tournament. It's just been blowing everybody away. So do you think they're going to be a tough cookie against the host nation?
It depends. I don't know the kind of Nigeria that's going to show up. If the Nigeria that has showed up in the last 5 games shows up, then it's going to be very difficult for Morocco, because I'm a bit worried. How is Regragui going to figure things out? Because you have a player or a right back who likes to join the attack. And the player who he's going to face or who's going to play on the side is an Ademola Lookman form. So I think it's going to be a headache for him. How does he go, or how does he shape up? He's going to go with a 5-back just to ensure that Hakimi doesn't have a lot of defensive responsibilities to shoulder. Because it's one matchup to look out for, because anytime Iwobi has the ball, he's looking at the runs of Lookman. Yeah, so it's going to be difficult.
And Iwobi has been an unsung hero, He's been orchestrating
he hasn't scored, but
he's been a player.
Onyeka and Ndidi breaks the line for him, gives him the ball, and he just looks at the run of Ako Adams. You see another challenge for Morocco also, because but the good thing is that Mazraoui doesn't overlap. So Ezra Razoui does more of the attacking play. So
Very tough semi-final. Exciting times. The AFCON has been great. We've had a great tournament, and we will be at the semi-final in Morocco to bring you everything that you need to know here.
Where are you going to be?
I'll be in Tangier. Tangier for the Senegal Egypt game. That's a tough game, you know.
I'll be in Rabat.
We'll be in Rabat to watch Nigeria and Morocco. So but we'll see each other there in the final, Rabat, and we'll be bringing you everything. As we said in the beginning, the new players on the One Expert platform, 300% bonus, guys. Just hop on. It's ABOUTGH. That's a promo code. Type in ABOUTGH and you have 300% bonus before you start staking on the official One Expert platform. We brought you everything here live from Ghana. The next time you see us, we'll be live from Morocco from the African Cup of Nations. It's me here, Selwyn Saki. I did this with my brother, Fifi Fossen.
Shout out to Yvonne.
You'll be seeing her very soon. This is About.